I will never forget the night the ground opened up and swallowed my neighbor completely. It was the night of the storm, the night everything changed. We had always known our village was cursed. Strange things happened here, animals would vanish, trees would bleed, shadows would move even when there was no one there. But what happened that night was worse than anything we had seen before. The elders always told us that Umadim, our village, had been under a dark curse for hundreds of years. They said it began long before our great-grandfathers were born, before even the oldest trees in the forest had grown tall. The spirits that ruled this land were not kind. They fed on fear, on blood, on suffering. People disappeared. Not just at night, sometimes in broad daylight. A woman washing clothes by the river would turn to call her child, and the next second, she was gone. A man walking home from the farm would step into the shade of a tree and never come out the other side. And the worst part, no one ever found their bodies. It was as if they had never existed. But everything changed the year I turned 12. That was the year Adanna was born. The elders had spoken about her for generations. The one who would come. The one who would fight. The one who would win. They called her the child of the light. But the spirits knew about her too, and they hated her before she even drew her first breath. Her mother, Mama Adanna, suffered from the moment she became pregnant. Strange things happened to her. She woke up with deep claw marks on her back, as if an unseen animal had attacked her in the night. Sometimes, she would hear voices whispering from the walls, calling her name, laughing in a way that made her blood turn to ice. And worse, sometimes she would wake up with her belly flat, as if the baby had been stolen from inside her. But by morning, the bump would return. The night Adanna was born, the spirits came in full force. The wind howled so loudly the roofs of our houses lifted from their frames. The sky turned black, not like night but like something darker, something alive. The river overflowed, swallowing the huts closest to its banks. And then the screaming started, not from Mama Adanna, but from the spirits themselves. Because she had arrived. For the first 12 years of Adanna's life, the spirits never stopped trying to destroy her. She fell sick constantly, but no doctor could explain what was wrong. People avoided her, the children in the village ran away from her the moment they set their eyes on her, because they felt she was evil. Even her own father left the village one night and never came back. Some feared her, saying she would bring more trouble. Others believed in her, but they were too afraid to stand beside her. And then, on the night she turned 12, she made her decision. "I am going to the shrine," she said. Nobody went to the shrine, not even the fiercest warriors of the village ever dared to step their feet on the soil of the shrine and its surroundings. It was where the spirits lived. It was where they dragged people, where their whispers were loudest, where bones turned to dust in the wind. But Adanna was not afraid. The elders tried to stop her. They told her she was too young, too weak, that the spirits would tear her apart. But she only looked at them with her deep, knowing eyes and said, "If I do not go, they will never stop." And so, she went. I was there. I saw it all. I had followed her, hiding behind trees, keeping my steps as light as the wind. I wanted to see what would happen, even though I was shaking with fear. The shrine was at the edge of the village, deep in the forest where the air was always thick and heavy. As she stepped into the clearing, everything went silent. No insects, no birds, nothing. Just silence. Then the ground began to move. The trees twisted like they were alive. And from the shadows, they came. Spirits with no faces, just empty black holes where eyes should be. They slithered and crawled and floated, whispering in voices that sounded like the wind and the rain and the cries of lost children. They laughed at her, mocked her, told her she was nothing. But Adanna did not flinch. She knelt on the ground, pressed her hands into the earth, and began to speak, not with her voice, but with something older, something powerful. The ground trembled. The air crackled with heat. The spirits shrieked, their laughter turning to screams. The wind grew so strong I had to hold onto a tree to keep from being blown away. Then the sky split open. A light, brighter than anything I had ever seen, poured down from the heavens, straight onto Adanna. The spirits shook uncontrollably and twisted, their screams turning to nothing as the light consumed them. The trees stopped moving. The wind died. And then, silence. Adanna collapsed. When I ran to her, she was barely breathing. But she opened her eyes and smiled. "It is done," she whispered. And it was. From that day forward, the spirits never came back. No more whispers in the night, no more missing people, no more cursed shadows. The village was free. Adanna had won. She left soon after that. Nobody knows where she went. Some say she joined the spirits she had defeated, taking their place as the guardian of the land. Others believe she still walks among us, waiting for the day she is needed again. I do not know the truth. But I do know this. The curse of Umedim is broken. And it was because of her, the child of prophecy.